sounds like a dangerous job. You have to build things and hope they don't break like this.
Yeah, just like that. And that's all there is to it. And
But imagine how much harder it would be if you were under the threat of attack as well. Today, we are going to be learning about Nehemiah and how he led God's people to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. It may not have been an easy job, but our God is a faithful protector. Let's learn more right after we worship together.
Have you guys ever heard of the show Wheel of Fortune? Well, today we are playing a game very similar, but here's the thing. When we spin the wheel, we won't win anything. In fact, we are spinning a wheel of misfortune. We could end up getting pied, or we could even end up eating baby food. So are you ready to see what happens to our poor contestants? Welcome to Wheel of Misfortune. As you can see here, we have this beautiful wheel full of misfortunate events. Like for one, we'll be eating baby food. For another, there's hot sauce, and not just any normal hot sauce, it's ghost pepper hot sauce, where you see tortilla on that. If we roll a tortilla, we get slapped with one of these bad boys. Not the full thing though, like that. And then we got Spam, where if we roll Spam, well, We're gonna have to take a chunk out of it. And then pie. So you ready to see how we roll? I think Lee will start us out.
Come on,
scared.
Lydia.
Remember how to hold it.
Bam!
Awesome.
Oh my goodness!
Wait, no, you moved that.
Just a little bit. You know that that's going to. Too much? Too much?
Give her some.
That's 2 drops! Look, she wants to just do 2 drops of it.
Stop.
I'm putting a 3rd drop. You can handle 3, 4.
You're such a fool.
3,
2, 1.
That was horrible. It's burnt.
She can't
I'm not
breathe.
okay.
Well, Ty, I think you're up next.
Okay, that's fine, man. I'll do it. Wow, that smells so bad. Okay, ladies and gentlemen,
I'm not okay.
you gotta roll big time. Roll big.
That's how you roll right there, Lydia.
No, please.
That's spam. That's spam.
Ah, do you have a trash can? Because I seriously might throw up. Okay, here it goes. Fake meat in a can.
Well, there's ham in it.
Is it real meat?
No,
What is
it's
spam?
fake.
It says ham on the top, though.
Anybody want a whiff?
No, I'm good.
Smell-o-vision, there it is. Ah, it smells like dog food. Here we go. Not too bad. Very, very salty.
Not too bad.
He's not picking
Tortilla?
his games anymore. Johnny.
I'm not looking at it. I'm looking at the camera.
Spam. It says tortilla anyway.
Tortilla?
Johnny gets the tortilla. Ladies and gentlemen, this is called the tortilla slap. I'm pretty sure Lydia has always wanted to do this.
Oh yeah.
Someone give her the honors. Honestly, we all want to slap Johnny with a tortilla.
Maybe we both should.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Wait,
You get
wait,
the
wait.
first one.
That says tortilla, and that's singular and
I
not
guess
plural.
you didn't. You missed him.
That was the ear! Ty, do this side.
Okay, I'll go this way. This is the tortilla slap challenge. This side has been bruised, and now we're going to this side. I just gotta make sure I don't hit your face. 3, 2, 1. That's the weirdest game
My
in the
tortilla
world.
ripped.
Oh. You might hit my eye. Thanks for joining us for the wheel of
Your ear is so red. I'm so sorry.
I can't even focus. It's not red? Well, you hit me right in the ear. Well, thanks for joining us for Wheel of Misfortune, everyone. Join us next week when we play the Oreo roll.
Ooh, that flew really far.
A lot of unfortunate things can happen, like getting pied in the face or maybe even being attacked while you build a wall. Well, let's be honest, the second one probably is not going to happen to you. But it was something that Nehemiah and the Israelites were worried about in the story that you'll hear today. Last week, we heard about how Jerusalem's walls and gates were destroyed. So, Nehemiah wanted to do something about it. Not only was the threat of attack present, but many people even mocked Nehemiah. But through it all, he stayed strong because he knew that God was faithful to protect. That's why our big idea today is God is a faithful protector. Let's watch the story of how Nehemiah built the walls to learn how God continued to protect his people.
Nehemiah went to Jerusalem to help the people rebuild the city walls. The people started working together to fix the walls and the burned down gates. The walls and gates had special names. Some of the people worked on the fish gate. The fish gate was the entrance to the fish market. Some people worked on the sheep gate. This gate led to the place men gathered to sell sheep. Others worked on the valley gate, the old gate, and the horse gate. The workers put in doors, bolts, and bars. They cut stones and lifted them into place on the wall, and they filled in gaps and holes. All around the city, people worked side by side. Soon, the wall was half as tall as it had once been. Not everyone was happy that Jerusalem's walls were being rebuilt. Some men who lived nearby were angry. Sanballat and Tobiah mocked the people. Sanballat said, "What do these people think they are doing? These walls are just piles of trash and dirt. They can't be rebuilt." Nehemiah prayed. God's people kept working on the walls, but their enemies made a plan to attack them and stop their work. God's people prayed and assigned men to guard the walls all day and all night, but they were discouraged. "Our enemies are everywhere," they said. Nehemiah reminded the people that God was with them. "Do not be afraid. God is great and powerful," Nehemiah said. "Be ready. If our enemies attack us, God will fight for us." Sanballat and Tobiah could threaten God's people, but they could not make God's people stop building. Sanballat and Tobiah were not in charge of rebuilding the wall. God was. So God's people went back to work. Some stood guard with weapons and others worked on the wall. Some men worked with one hand and held a weapon in the other. They were always ready to fight, just in case. Nehemiah was a wise and good leader of God's people while they worked. He helped them solve any problems they had, and he did not give in to their enemies. The people kept working very hard. In just 52 days, the wall was complete. The gates were repaired, and the wall was restored. When all of Jerusalem's enemies heard that the wall had been rebuilt, they were afraid because they knew God was with his people. Nehemiah led the people to rebuild the walls around Jerusalem to protect them from their enemies. Jesus came to protect us from our enemies. He died on the cross and rose from the dead to rescue people from sin and death.
God had a plan for the city of Jerusalem to be restored, and no one could stop him from accomplishing it. Nehemiah trusted God to protect his people, and he encouraged them to trust God too. Instead of living in fear, they prayed and asked God to take care of them. God answered their prayers when God used Nehemiah to lead his people as they rebuilt Jerusalem's walls. In the book of Psalms, chapter 46:1, it states that God is our refuge and strength, always ready to help in times of trouble. God is faithful to protect. Let's imagine that we are like Johnny. If you're like Johnny, or honestly any of us, you can get discouraged or scared when life gets tough. Maybe you are having troubles at school or even troubles at home. Life sometimes feels like it's hopeless. It can get messy. That's why it's important for us to remember to turn to God, especially when life becomes scary or hard. God is faithful to protect. So when life gets messy, we can trust in God to accomplish his amazing plan. That's why it's important for us to remember to turn to God, especially when life becomes scary or hard. God is faithful to protect. God's protection over us doesn't mean that nothing bad will happen to us, so we have to be ready for that. But he is faithful to us even when we are not. In our story, the Jews needed walls for protection. but we need protection as well. Under Nehemiah's leadership, the Jews rebuilt the walls around Jerusalem for protection. But our enemy is sin, and physical walls can't keep sin away. That's why Jesus came, to protect us from our enemy. Jesus died on the cross and rose from the dead to rescue people from sin and death. Sin is inside our hearts, so we must rely on Jesus to protect our hearts from sin and to change us from the inside out. Sin no longer has control over us because Jesus has died to rescue us from sin. Go ahead and close your time by reading scripture and praying together as a family. Our story can be found in Nehemiah 6, verses 15 through 16. Then, spend some time thanking God for how He has protected you and your family. Thanks for watching, everyone. Come back next week when we hear about Ezra.